All right, so today we're going to be working on queries 2, and we're going to start adding calculated fields and do quite a bit more with these queries than just adding them and using multiple tables. So if you haven't already done so, download and extract and open the file that we're going to be working with today, which is the education database. And I have the instructions pulled up in a separate browser as well. So for query 4a, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a new query in query design. And we want to understand the West Test participation results for each school. And we're going to list each school name, county, school year, number of enrolled students, the number of students who took the West Test, and a calculated field on West Test participation rate. So, all of that information can be found in the annual statistics table. So, one thing to note about calculated fields, as you see in the instructions right here, you cannot copy and paste this. I repeat, under no circumstances do you copy and paste this from the instructions because it will give you a query that won't run, and then your instructor will take off points because you're just copying and pasting a formula that you need to know how to actually make yourself. So a couple of things that you can get from this representation, though, of this formula are, for example, the tables that you're going to use. In this case, we're going to use the annual statistics table at least. Sometimes there will be multiple tables that are in this, and that's everything before this period right here. Everything after the period is the field within this table over here on the left-hand side that you're going to be working with. So we know we're going to be working with the annual statistics table, and if we can get all of the information that we need from that table, we're going to do so. So just let me pull up what we need again. Okay, so we need to get the school name, county, school year, and number of enrolled students. County, and the school year, number of enrolled students, which is the enrollment, the number of students who took the West Test, which is the count. And for our sixth field, we're going to make a calculated field. So what we're going to do is we're going to click in this empty column right here, and we're going to click on this Builder button up here under the Design tab under the Query Setup section. And what we're going to do is we're going to type in a name. For example, this one is the participation rate. So I'm going to call it participation rate. And I'm going to put a colon afterwards. And that tells Access that's the title for this field. Don't try and work with it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into where it says education.accdb. I'm going to expand that by double clicking on it. I'm going to double click on the tables and expand that. And I'm going to go in the annual statistics table by double clicking on it, and it'll pull up these field names that are in there. And the formula that we're going to do is going to be the West Test student count divided by the annual statistics enrollment field. So we're going to put an open set of parentheses. We're going to get the West Test student count by double clicking on it. We're going to put the division symbol, and then we're going to do the enrollment by double clicking on it. And then we're going to close out our parentheses and click OK. And when we run this, that's what we get. Our 4,125 records in 6 fields. However, we need to format this as well. So we're going to go back to the design view. We're going to make sure that this participation rate field right here is checked by hovering over it until our cursor turns into that black down arrow, like so. And then we're going to go over here into the property sheet. And if you don't see the property sheet, you're going to go up here under the Design tab, under the section that says Show Hide on the far right, and you're going to click on the button that says Property Sheet. And you're going to click in the format, and it's going to be a % with 2 decimal places. And the other thing we're going to do is sort. So we're going to sort by the county and then by the school name. So for the sort, we're going to click there under the sort row and go ascending. And then we're going to just move this by highlighting it and dragging it over to the left of school name. And then we're going to click ascending under the sort row for school name as well. And we're going to save this as query for A. All right, I'm done with query 4A, so I'm going to close out of it. And the next one that we're going to do is start using criteria to start restricting the results that we get. So we need to create a query to view the schools whose graduation rates were greater than 90%. So what we're going to do is grab the annual statistics table because that has the graduation rates. And we also need to get the county, school name, school year, and the grades served. So if you look in here, you'll see that the grades served field is not present in annual statistics. So we're going to need multiple tables for this one. So I'm going to close out of the annual statistics, go create, query design. We're going to grab the annual statistics table, and we're also going to grab the schools table because that has the grades that were served by each of those schools in it as well. So what I'm going to do is start grabbing these fields starting with county, then school name, then grade served from the schools table, school year, graduation rate, and that's it for the 5 fields that we need for this one. Now for the criteria, we set that using the criteria row. So we want to only display records where the graduation rate was greater than 90%. So anytime you see greater than, more, you're going to use the greater than sign. Then we're going to express this percentage as a decimal, so 0.9. And we're going to run this and make sure we get the number of records that we want. We should be getting 188 records and 5 fields, which is what we have. So we're done with this one. And again, the way you can check is down here. There's the number of records that you're looking for, or the number of records that you have, and then you can compare it to what you're looking for in the hints. So I'm going to save this query as 4B. And close out of that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use OR criteria. So what that allows us to do is specify multiple elements of criteria and display the results that meet all of those criteria in different fields. So the OR and AND criteria are useful if you want to test for multiple types of conditions. For the OR, it's something that meets one criteria, at least one element of criteria, but possibly both. The AND is strictly criteria that meets 2 or more criteria that you're setting. So we're going to go in the Create tab, go Query Design, click on Counties, and add that to the workspace by double-clicking. And we're going to grab each one of these fields, and the first element of criteria that we're going to set in this criteria row is the region. So we want to display records from the North Central region. So the best way to do this is to grab a sample of what you're looking for as far as text goes in the table that you're going to be searching through, so that you get it exactly right, there's no misspellings in the criteria, and it's exactly as it's entered in the table itself. So I'm going to copy this North Central text right here in the region and counties and close out of it. And I'm going to paste that in the region criteria right here in our design view of our new query. The OR row is right below the criteria row. And this is where we're going to specify what our other criteria is going to be. We want to show records that have a, like for counties that have a population of at least 150,000 as well. So greater than or equal to 150,000. Don't enter the commas for the thousand separators. You're just going to type in the raw numbers and greater than, equal to, and then the number that you're going to be comparing. So we're going to go under the Design tab and run this to make sure we get the correct number of records. And we do, right there. So we were looking for 8 records in 3 fields, which is exactly what we have. So I'm going to save this as query for C. And I'm going to close out of query 4C now, since we're done. Okay, for query 4D, we're going to use not in a criterion. So we're going to click Create, Query Design, and we're going to grab the schools table and the school types table because we need the school type name, which is only found in the school types table. We only have the abbreviation here in the schools, which is not what we're looking for. We're going to get the county name, the school name, the grade served, and the school type name. So we want to only display schools that were not elementary schools or intermediate schools. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky because you don't make an OR row or you don't type in the word OR in this criterion. It's actually an AND because if you make it an OR option, it will still give you records that are schools that are either intermediate schools or a elementary school, and that's not what we want. We want ones that are exclusively neither of those. So we're going to go to the school types table. We're going to grab the elementary school information by highlighting it and copying that. We're going to go to our query, and there's 2 ways to do not in Access. You can type the word not and then just paste in what you're going to be selecting against. We're going to type in the word and. The other way you can do it is by using a less than sign followed by a greater than sign. That means the same thing. Then you're going to go and get the intermediate school right here by highlighting it and copying it. And we're done with the school types table, so we can close out of that. And then we're going to paste what we have right there, and we're going to run it. And you'll get the 305 results that you're looking for and the 4 fields that we needed. So we're going to save that as query 4D and close out of it since we're done with that. All right, query 4E is a SQL statement. So we're going to go create, query design, X out of the show table pop-up, and go up here to the upper left corner to get our SQL view. We're going to delete the select and semicolon that are already there, and we're going to grab the SQL statement from the instructions, copy it, and paste, and we're going to run it. And we are currently well over the records that we actually want in here. So the instructions tell us that it's missing a table. So we're going to go into the design view and fix this so that we get 55 records and 4 fields. So we're going to right click over this tab and go to the design view. So as you can see, there's no relationship between these two tables. There's nothing connecting them. So we're going to pull in the annual statistics table because that was a nice bridge between pretty much every table in our relationships. But if you didn't know that, you could check it by going to the database tools and relationships and see what would connect the counties and dropouts tables. And that is the annual statistics table that I just showed you. So I'm going to drag that over and go back to the design view and click run. And I get the 55 records that I was looking for. So I'm going to save this as query 4E and close out of that. And the last steps for you to do for this participation project are to complete the analysis question, which you'll enter in the analysis questions table. And we're also going to go into database tools and click compact and repair database.